Welcome to the Uncensored Self Podcast. I am your host, Ryan Gillen, and this is a space where women who value achievement, success, accomplishment, and wealth, but also crave happiness, love, joy, and deep fulfillment come to remember that we get to have both. Not by doing more, but by being more of who we truly are. In this show, we explore identity, energy, alignment, and embodiment because you didn't come here to follow someone else's rules. You came to right your own. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome back as we continue the Feminine Energy Archetypes series. So in the first podcast, I really just kind of shared with you the premise behind the feminine archetypes, right? Like where they came from, things like that. So the next 3 podcasts, I'm actually going to break down each feminine archetype for you so you can see where am I in a healthy version of this energy or where am I in an unhealthy version of this, right? And also when I say healthy or unhealthy, what I basically mean is it balanced, right? Because again, the doer overdoing at some point in time becomes unhealthy, right? Healthy is the balance of saying, I know what to do and what needs to be done. And I also value rest, right? Or I know that at some point in time, I have to rest. So that's what I mean by healthy or unhealthy. It's when it's balanced, when it makes sense, when we're using it intentionally, it's healthy. When it goes into this energy of proving, pick me energy, that sort of stuff, that's when we get into what I would call the unhealthy side or maybe even the unfavorable side. Pick the word that works best for you. But I need you, if you're somebody who has said, if I don't do it, it won't get done. Or if I don't do it, it won't get done right. Or I can do it faster, or I can do it better, or just give it to me. This episode is for you. And here's what is such a double-edged sword about the doer, because the doer is smart and she's respected and she's capable. Like if you are a doer and this is the energy that you really resonate with and the energy that you present with, like the capability that you have in your little finger, like the shit you can move is bananas, right? Like you have been running the show in this energy of give it to me and I will do it. And part of it is so powerful and so magical, right? But where you're at this point in the journey is that it's now starting to cost you, right? It worked, right? It was benefiting you to be in that doer energy. Now we are at a point where it is no longer it's no longer benefiting us. Now it is actually costing you. And again, like I shared, you're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just you've over-identified with one part of your energy system, right? That's why there's this trifecta here of the doer, the dreamer, and the alchemist, right? So nothing has gone wrong. You don't have to stop doing the things that you have always done. You don't have to stop being the powerful, incredible human that you are. It's just we're going to find a little bit of balance. And this is actually where we need to give ourselves permission to do less. Because what I have discovered for both myself and for other women in doer energy, the productivity isn't actually your power. It's your armor. It's what you use to hide that soft, gooey center that you have on the inside, right? Your softness, your vulnerability, right? Those quiet moments, your passions, your heart, you have been hiding that from the world and presenting with capability and competence and productivity and hid that part of you away, right? So the doer really she's the badass, guys. And every single one of us, even if you're listening to this right now and you're like, this is not me, Ryan, I'm just waiting for you to get to the dreamer. There is a part of you, like the doer is the badass. You are competent, you are fast moving, you are efficient, right? Like you are the one. And the doer is actually the one who built the business, right? You've held the family together, you got the degree, you hit the quota, like every single challenge that has been put in front of you as a doer, every single one, you have mastered. You have mastered and you've mastered it beautifully. You thrive under pressure, right? Like give me a deadline, and quite frankly, you kind of get off being the most capable one in the room. Like when you walk into the room, I'm probably the smartest person, or I'm probably the one who is going to wind up having to lead this, right? Like, it's eventually going to fall to my shoulders, right? And here's also what's been happening is that she's also been keeping receipts, right? Of everything that you have done for everyone. But here's what's interesting. You are not necessarily doing for everyone because of some underlying people pleasing, right? In this aspect, we'll get to that when we get to the dreamer, right? But she keeps receipts and as your own receipt, like it's your own scorecard of, am I good enough? Did I earn it? Did I work hard enough? Did I deserve the things, right? So your receipts are kind of your own scorecard that you have with yourself. And you may tell yourself it's the outside world. You may tell yourself the scorecard is with somebody else. You and I both know that's bullshit, right? The scorecard it's your own scorecard, right? But you're not doing it again in this people pleasing kind of way in the doer energy. You're doing it in a, have I proven to myself that I have done enough? Have I proven that I am worth it? Have I proven that I am smart enough? Have I proven that I am valuable? Have I proven that I am worthy? And again, this winds up becoming something we are proving to ourselves, but that may not be how it's presenting right now. Here's what also winds up happening to us in doer energy is that it often becomes mistaken for your identity, right? You kind of have just become the bitch or the ball buster. Like that's very much my story. It was just Ryan was a bitch. It was just a bitch, but if you wanted something done, you called her, but you didn't want to piss her off. You didn't want to cross her. You didn't want to doubt her, right? You didn't want to tell her no. You didn't want to ever call her and tell her that you did something wrong because she was a real bitch, right? But it was this imbalance of that, right? That like, okay, I'm the one who has to get it all done. And then eventually we get into that resentment energy. And so then you turn into the bitch, right? So the doer real quickly can slide into, the unhealthy doer, which you can call her the bitch, right? So the healthy version of the doer is the badass, right? She's the one who's competent and fast moving and efficient. The unhealthy doer just becomes a bitch, right? She just becomes a dragon lady. There is no keeping this woman happy. Like what's coming to mind right now is Miranda Priestley in The Devil Wears Prada, right? Like she is an unhealthy doer, right? She is somebody who is just a bitch and she doesn't care. And she knows that she's going to hurt people. And she just thinks like, hey, that's the price to pay. Right. And it almost really disconnected from your emotions at this place, right? But here's what's really interesting. We think that the confidence comes from our doer, right? We think the reason that I am a confident woman, because look at all the things that I can do, right? We've been keeping these receipts. We've been keeping score. Look at me, right? But actually we're really just measuring how much we've overgiven and hoping that somebody notices. We hope that somebody notices how hard that we're trying. We hope that somebody notices how important this is. We hope that somebody notices that what we're doing really matters, right? Because I believe underneath all of this, for all of us, all we really want is to matter. All we really want is to feel important, to feel validated, right? That's all we actually want. But it winds up in an unhealthy way being this measuring stick, right, of your own worthiness, right? We actually cover worthiness inside of business therapy, which is my more business focused program. But like that's where this comes from. And we use what we have a lot of, right? We have time, we have energy, we have resources, we have skills, we have things we've amassed, and then we give it away thinking that it's no big deal, right? Until somebody asks for more, right? So we're doing and 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 we're waiting, right? I have a lot of it. I have a lot of this to give. I have a lot of competence to give. I have a lot of skills to give. I have a lot of value to give. I'm really good at all of these things, right? And we think again that it's no big deal. But then when somebody starts to ask for more, that's when we slide into that bitch, right? Well, that's when we slide into that energy of how dare you ask me for more? Don't you see how much I have been giving to you? And some of you are in this relationship inside of your home. Some of you are in this relationship with your business. Some of you are within this relationship with your money, right? But if you think about it, if this resonates with you, you are in this place where I can't believe you're actually asking me for more. Look at everything that I have given to you. And that's where the resentment comes from and the anger, right? I once had a client tell me, right, I'm just fucking angry all the time. And this is why, right? Because she has been in this doer energy and has given and given and given and expecting somebody to notice, expecting somebody to appreciate it, expecting somebody to pat her on the back, but then they asked for more, right? Then they asked for more instead of saying, oh my God, you're amazing. Thank you for giving us so much. Then they were like, can you think you can give a little bit more? And then all of a sudden, like the fucking dragon lady comes out, right? We do this with our children, like, no, babe, no, babe, no, babe, no, babe. Right? Like some version of that is inside of us. So this is where the doer energy, again, I'm going to say this every single time I record one of these podcasts and every single time we have this conversation, the doer energy is our masculine energy. And this is not about men versus women, right? It's actually a combination of our energetics, but it's energy we all have inside of us, right? So actually men do this as well. I don't understand it as well because I'm not a man, but like Derek and I talk about this in depth all of the time. And I'm really understanding like men versus women. And it's really blowing my mind right now. And it's really helping me understand myself because, again, my identity was doer energy, right? Like I very much was in my masculine energy. So some questions to ask yourself if this is resonating. If you're like, okay, yep, I'm certainly out of balance and over giving in this place. I am the doer. I am the badass. I am the one, right? I want you to ask yourself this question. What do you give away like it has no value just because it comes easy to you? What do you give away like it has no value just because it comes easy to you? This is where you are very likely going to find your resistance, your resentment, and all your drama around your doer energy. Okay. So where did she come from? You're like, okay, how the fuck when do I get to, how was she formed? When do I get a say in this lady? Right. But really the doer energy is very much born in family systems. right? And it's born in how we were raised, the school, the areas of the country. And I also want to be really mindful when we talk about this being rooted in our programming. None of our parents, I don't believe, okay, most people, I'm not going to say none of, most of our parents, most importantly mine, because they're the only ones whose experience I can tell you, did not wake up and decide, hey, we're going to program our women, our girls, our daughters to hide their emotion, right? That's not what they thought. I think people do the best with what they can with what they have, with the information that they have, what's being presented, right? Like you think about what was going on in the world at the time you were being raised, it was just a very, very different world. Because I think sometimes we get frustrated, like, why the fuck did nobody teach us, right? Why were we born into family systems that reward responsibility and suppress emotion? Because that's what our parents were told the key to success was. That was what was going on politically in the world. That was what was going on professionally, right? Responsibility was the most important thing, and not being overly emotional, because remember, we can't trust those darn emotions. So doer is born in family systems that way, but it's also born, like I see this a lot in athletes. Like I also think it was a family system for me, but it was also because I was an athlete from a very, very, very young age. It was train harder, do more. The person who puts in the most effort wins. And again, I had so much evidence to support this. So there's so many ways that this is really programmed into us, right? And so some of us became the doer because we had to, right? Because people did drop the ball and we weren't going to let it fall. That's certainly been some people's experiences, right? Achievement wound up becoming the way to receive attention, love, and safety. And guys, what's wild for me is achievement. I made that choice for achievement to become the way to receive attention, love, and safety. And this is a little vulnerable for me to share, but I think it's important at this point. It's no secret, I've done a lot of work, right? Like I've done therapy, I've done EMDR, I've done hypnosis. Like I have done everything that I could find. I've used every single possible tool that I can to really understand myself and understand this life and understand these gifts that I was given. And so in a hypnosis session, it came up that when I was very young, adolescent age, middle school, high school age, there was a friend who was attractive by traditional standards, but she was not a good person. She was not a nice person. She was not a reliable person. She was the type of person who would smile to your face and turn around and talk shit behind you. She would tell you she was coming and she would never show up, right? Like that's who she was. But people liked her because she was attractive. She was attractive. She smiled. She was funny. She had a lot of dreamer energy. She had a lot of feminine energy, right? She just had that sensual, sexy thing about her. Yes, even as a young girl, and people liked her. And I was tall and awkward and had freckles and curls and all the things. And, and I was told that I was intimidating and all this other stuff, right? So I came about this and I was like, no, 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 no. I don't want attention from just for the way that I look. Like that is such a small part of who I am. Like I'm smart and I'm capable. And so like I put this on myself. Like I honestly think I'm like literally talking this out in real time, which is my superpower, by the way, is like, I think that's a lot of where this addiction to achievement came to for me, which was like, no, I don't want to be that. Don't just like me because I'm pretty, like me because I'm kind, because I'm nice, because I'm smart, because I add value in some capacity. So achievement for me, that's what I wanted. Do not give me attention, love, and safety because I'm pretty and because I'm a girl. Give me attention, love, and safety because I'm capable and I'm worth it, right? So we learn to anticipate needs, carry burdens, perform emotional labor, right? That's something very much for women. We become useful, right? So for me, I wanted to be useful. I didn't just want to be attractive, but we also became resentful, right? Because again, when you become the useful person, people just keep asking and they keep asking and they keep asking and keep waiting for them to notice you, but they don't, right? And so we don't want to keep overgiving. Like those of us that are doers, that are overgivers, we're like, my goodness, I wish I could get off this ride, but we do it anyway because it works. That's the most fucked up part of this, is that if you choose to go on this path and you choose to do this work, that what you are doing right now very likely is working. It is getting you a result. Maybe not the perfect result that you want, but it is getting you a result. But so it's so hard to break up with, right? But we're manipulating our own system. Keeping score, right? Like we talked about, hoping someone sees how much we've done and says, thank you, you matter, right? And that's really, I think, the unhealthy doer, right? The unhealthy doer is doing because she wants the thank you, you matter. And she thinks she's going to get the thank you, you matter in the bank account, in the clients, in the recognition, in the validation, in the position, in all of those ways. And that's not where it's coming, right? So the doer, she got you here. but she is not the one who's going to get you to where you want to go, because you're burnout and resentful, your power, you will burn this motherfucker to the ground before you continue on this trajectory. I think this is really important. Like, once a doer recognizes what is happening, and this is what happened to me, like, I burnt down everything, but I burnt it down because I didn't have the tools to do it differently. I don't think burning it down is a requirement. I think burning it down winds up happening when you get so far backed into a corner that you can't get out, that you have no choice, or it feels like you have no choice but to burn it down. But if you are not at that point where it's like, I don't want to torch it, Ryan, I just want to make it better, I think that's 100% an option and available. That was not my circumstance, right? I backed myself into a corner, but I don't think that is necessary. I don't think that that's necessary at all. So let's talk about it. There's so much duality in here, right? Because there's power, right? We just said that it works, but it's also unsustainable. And so the gift of the doer is that you move, you act, you make things happen, right? You're incredible under pressure. In a crisis, when things need to get done, you're good. These are good things, right? You're productive, you're respected, you're responsible. You hold the structure and the momentum of your life, and you do it with so much grace, right? But then the trap of this doer energy becomes your worth is now equated with output, right? You don't have anybody. There's nobody to go to for support. There's nobody to go to for help. There's nobody to really go and give your softness to, because heaven forbid if they knew you were soft under there, right? You're always on. You're always thinking all of the time. You're the assistant running the whole motherfucking company, or you're the assistant with the director level job, or you're the assistant who's a partner, right? You give to prove your value, and then you resent not being seen for it. And then your giving becomes a habit for others. They just expect you to give, not a gift to be appreciated. Your gifts are to be appreciated. And when they're not appreciated, you got to stop giving your gifts, right? Overgiving rarely creates gratitude. It creates expectation. And so you give time, you give love, you give energy, you give skill. I mean, you give so much, and you're shocked when somebody still wants a refund, or somebody still isn't happy with your work, or somebody's still second guessing you, right? You want to be seen as generous and as gifted and as resourceful and as important, but you wind up feeling used. And so what winds up happening to the doer is you become a wildfire with no direction, right? Powerful, but destructive if left unchecked. I did not know that my son knew what a controlled burn was, right? He's 8, and he says things sometimes like, there's no way that you can't convince me that there is like nature versus nurture in that conversation. Like, Davis is all boy, and I don't know where he learns these things, but they're clearing out brush along the lake in the neighborhood because they're building on the other side of the lake. My neighborhood's growing like crazy. And so they burn it, right? They take down the brush and then they burn it, and it's a controlled burn. And he was like, hey, Mom, is that a controlled burn? And I'm like, how do you know to ask that question? But we had a whole conversation about controlled burns versus uncontrolled burn. And so that's what's coming up for me right now. It's this wildfire with no direction, right? But it's powerful, but destructive if left unchecked, right? When you're that controlled burn, when you're there for a reason, right? That wildfire is powerful and amazing and incredible, right? But we don't want to become destructive. And so that's where the balance comes from. And I think that this is a really important part of this, because now we need to talk about, energetic boundaries, right? Energetic boundaries is what we need to set if we want to do something different, right? So first of all, calling out, what is the overgiving coming from, right? What is the overperforming coming from? So start by asking, why am I giving this? Why am I doing this? And if you're saying, I have to do this to earn, to prove, or to be liked, you are doing it for the wrong reason. These are for those of you that say yes all of the time to everything. Can you do this? Yes. Can you do this? Yes. Why am I doing this? Why am I saying yes to this? And if it is to earn or to prove or to be liked, that is an invitation to pause. Confidence is not earned through exhaustion. It's built through alignment. And so just because it is easy for you does not mean that it does not have immense value. And just because you can doesn't mean that you should, right? We need to learn our own supply and demand. We understand supply and demand in our businesses, right? We're really fucking good at that. But supply and demand of your own energy with yourself. Because what we've inadvertently done as doers is we've taught others to undervalue our gifts because we're giving them away like fucking candy. Of course they don't value us. And that's where the resentment comes from. So the reframe I have for you, the reflection I have for you is, what if the easiest thing for you to give are actually where your deepest magic lives? Sit with that for a minute. What if the easiest thing for you to give is actually where your deepest magic lives. So what we really want to do here in the spirit of energetic shifts and identity shifts, right, which I talk so much about, the Uncensored Self-Discovery, the first download of the program that came through last year was very much about identity. It was all about identity. And that's actually why I'm reimagining the program right now, because this feminine, this energetic stuff and then these feminine energy archetypes started coming in. And I was like, this just supports the work of the identity shift, right? So we all need an identity shift, right? We all need to understand we're the creator of our reality. But the identity shift is understanding is that we're like this beautiful energetic team, right? The law of gender says we have masculine and feminine, right? We're not using all the players, right? It's like we've got our best player on the fucking bench. Ooh, I love this sports analogy. I love where this is going, right? We've got our best player on the bench. That's bananas. She's on the bench because, the doer is out there trying to give and give and give because they're really fucking athletic, right? So the doer is part of the energetic team, not who you actually are. The doer isn't who you are. She's simply what you do. And her role energetically is to support your vision, not define your value. So like we kind of joked about before, but think of her as your assistant, not your whole identity. The doer is the assistant. Give her a job, give her a focus, let her execute, but she does not have everything she needs to run the show. You're like assigning the doer problems to solve that are not hers to solve, and you wonder why you're so just strung out, right? Your doer is clocking in every day, but who is she working for, right? It's like you're the alchemist, you're the magic, you're the creator, and you're over here working for the assistant. Like, which one of you is driving right now? You have to decide what is your priority, your creation, your mission. That's where the doer belongs. So a really kind of fun esoteric exercise for you is I want you to have a meeting with your doer, right? Like, what should your doer be working on? What are her KPIs, right? Who is she allowed to help, right? You want your doer serving you. Right now, your doer is serving everybody else and leaving you empty. Right? We need her serving you. So like sit down and have this meeting, like really view this, like this part of me, the gifts that I have, the things that I give so freely, like have this meeting with yourself, guys. And I just need you to know I'm doing this work with you. I think this is so important that I teach this work from a place of I am rapidly evolving every single moment. And as I am evolving, you are evolving with me. So it's not like I have climbed this mountain and I'm standing on the top of the mountain and I'm like, just put your foot right here. Just put like, I'm 6 steps ahead of you. I'm actually maybe not even ahead of you, right? Like I might just be a little bit farther left or a little bit farther right? Like I'm just finding an easier path and I'm bringing you with me moment by moment by moment. So these things, this meeting with the doer and all of this, like these are things that I am doing as well. And I think that this is just really important. Here's what I want you to know, because it almost sounds like if you listen to this, maybe we vilified the doer a lot, they want to stay out of that masculine energy, but the doer is actually sacred. She's amazing. She is part of the whole. She is so valuable. She is so incredible. She is so talented, but she's just part of the whole. She's not the whole. So when you live only from doer energy, life becomes achievement based. It becomes transactional. And quite frankly, it's fucking exhausting. And what we're going to do as we get into the dreamer is that there's another version of you waiting, right? And she is soft and she is creative and she is magnetic, right? She doesn't just do, she dreams, she attracts, and she feels. And when she and the doer come together, you become the alchemist. So in our next episode, we're going to meet the dreamer, right? The part of you that you left behind to get things done. But I really want you to deepen into this, right? Like if this is resonating for you, there is a reason, guys. You know that I believe in that. There's no reason that you're here listening to this if this is not important, right? So doing some journaling around where am I living in my doer energy, right? Like having this meeting with your doer. Where am I overgiving because it's easy, not because it's aligned, right? If you know somebody that needs to hear this, that needs to listen to this, like share it with them. If you see somebody in life that you're like, holy buckets, this is what we've been talking about, like that conversation you had with your girlfriend or that other colleague of yours that you had or that cup of coffee you had, like share this with them, right? Share this with them because I think this information changes the game for women in business. I think this information changes the game for powerful and successful women because it allows us to fully understand our power. And so we get to have the material things that we want. We get to run the businesses we want. We get to make as much money as we want, but we also get to love our lives and be in partnerships or relationships that are thriving, whether those are romantic or friendship, right? We deserve to have time to do the things that we enjoy. We deserve to take care of ourselves. We deserve to live a rich life that has nothing to do with work. And we get to do both of those. But this is the information that I think changes that. So I will see you in the next episode where we are going to have a conversation with our dreamer. And if you are feeling called, if you're like, okay, Ryan, I'm in, I want to learn more about this work. This is the work that's being added to the Uncensored Self-Discovery. So you can go to livelifeuncensored.com/self-discovery. You can get all the details on that. There's 2 ways to go through that program. You can go through it with me privately. You can also go through it as a self-study program. But the bonus that you're getting right now is I actually am going to be teaching it live, because I am reimagining it and like really combining all the work that was in there and adding this in. So it's really effing magical. So all of that to say, if you're like, yes, I want to do this, you can go there, you can join us. I'm going to start teaching live on August 12th. And so, that's what we got. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Uncensored Self podcast. If this conversation cracked something open for you, trust that that's the work. And share this episode with a woman in your life who's ready to stop performing and start creating. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe, leave a review. It helps this message reach the women who need it most. Remember, you're the creator. The rules are yours. And your uncensored self, she already knows what to do. Keep leading, keep listening, keep becoming.